AT&T sucks. Welcome to another episode of It Had to Be Said podcast, where we say out loud what you think in private. No topic is off limits. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about Lindsay Clancy. And this is going to be a very broad point of view, and I'll be talking about all of the points and all of the lessons that could be learned from this case and my personal feelings in regards to the supporters and everybody else. Because I want to just kind of cover everything, because I don't want to come back to this case. And for those of you who don't know, Lindsay Clancy is a mother who strangled and took the life of 3 of her kids after sending her husband out to the store. So right now there's no denial, at least not in the courts. Her lawyer herself, no one in the legal system is denying that she did the case. They're just that she did the 3 horrific crimes of taking her children's life. They're trying to find out whether or not she was in her sane mind when she did it, and if she should be held criminally accountable for it, right? So there's a couple different aspects that's happening here. Let's talk about the supporters first, right? When it comes down to her supporters, a lot of them are trying to blame the husband. They're trying to blame his friend. They're saying that he's the one who committed the crime and he's framing her. It's like all kind of type of conspiracies that's happening out there, right? That's one group of supporters. And there's some influencers who had jumped on the bandwagon at the early start, and they were getting a lot of views for that. And the more views they got, the more influencers who started speaking up about that, until there was a lawyer who went online and said, well, Patrick, which is the husband and his best friend, he said, well, I notice a lot of people are posting stuff on there and saying you guys are responsible for the murder and it was a setup. So if you guys want to file lawsuits against these influencers or against anyone that's actually making these false accusations without any kind of proof and making up their own proof, reach out to me and I'll be willing to file a lawsuit for you. What happened after that? The influencers, they deleted the posts. At least the influencers with millions of followers, they deleted the posts. Their accounts went private because they got the attention that they wanted. But what they failed to realize is that they lit a match and they created a fire, and now it's turned into a wild brush fire where they are no longer in control of it. People have started to repeat or regurgitate the narrative and started adding their own flavor to it. So it's getting really crazy and getting out of control, right? And then you have another group of her supporters who are simply saying, well, it's mental health, it's postpartum depression, and, and they're saying, she shouldn't be held accountable for it. The system let her down, her husband let her down. And even though the court evidence has shown that the husband, started working from home to support her, she's seen several doctors, several psychiatrists. I don't know what else they could have done to help this young lady besides just lock her up in an insane asylum and keep her away from those kids. I think that's the only thing that could have been done, because they've done everything else. I mean, I think it was like 5 or 6 different doctors that came on there who saw her, who her husband encouraged her to go see therapists and everything else like that. And so they're basically saying the system let her down. She shouldn't be held accountable. And those same individuals are saying, well, they have what they call the Lindsay Me Too movement, which is where they're saying, hey, we felt like killing our kids. We felt like strangulating them and doing all this other crazy stuff. And I'm sitting here like, that's kind of crazy. And they're posting videos online. And it's gotten to a point where, you start to see the ripple effects. About 2 weeks ago, there was a mother who actually slit the throat of 3 of her kids. One of them survived, 2 of them passed away. And
if your fashion wish list lives rent-free in your brain, you need to be on Poshmark. With Poshmark, you're shopping millions of listings from thousands of closets, each curated by someone with their own style. Vintage finds, designer pieces, and everyday staples all in one place. Search for your favorites or let the discovery come to you. Poshmark makes it easy to find what you actually want to wear at prices that feel like a quiet win. Download the Poshmark app today and use code PODCAST10 when you sign up to get $10 off your first purchase.
I made a short video for Instagram and for social media, basically saying let us not normalize this, you know. And I think the other aspect to it is it's okay to support someone. It's okay to say, hey, we stand behind people that actually have mental issues and we want to support them. But the way the women are going about this, especially the ones who are with Me Too, Lindsay, I felt that way. And they're making videos of them holding their child, you know, thinking about hurting them and throwing things against the wall. And some of them are actually posting videos of them, you know, causing, you know, physical harm to the child. I think every single one of these videos, and I called on the internet detectives to go out and identify these women, contact their husbands, their family members, and then contact DCF because we need to have a safety check done on these kids because we've become a society where people want so much, like it's like munch humdrum syndrome, you know? It's like the society has become to a point where any type of attention, whether it's positive or negative, is needed. And some people are doing a lot of this stuff just for the attention, you know, just for the comments, just for the likes and stuff like that. And I'm afraid that it may become a norm because people think that, you know, because some people may just want to become martyrs and become another example and do the exact same thing. Now, the other aspect to that is, you know, the fathers, the grandparents, the aunties, the uncles, the cousins, the nieces, the nephews. If you have a family member that is a supporter of Lindsay and she's posted videos saying that she's thought about hurting her kids and, you know, she's posted up videos of her, you know, abusing her kids, saying, you know, she wanted to take it that far. I think you guys should do a welfare check on them. I think you guys should get DCF involved and try to get the kids out of that home because we don't want to normalize taking the lives of children or hurting children. And I think that there's going to be a big, I think you're going to see a big rush of people, marriages falling apart, relationships falling apart. As a matter of fact, there's a couple videos that are going out. There's a very popular Instagrammer. I'm not sure what he does on TikTok because I'm not on TikTok. Of a Instagrammer, he's very popular, and he fired his nanny. He posted a video of him firing his nanny because, you know, he was scrolling through the internet and he saw a video of his nanny holding her child, saying with the sad music playing in the background, saying, "Me too, Nancy. Me too, Lindsay. I feel this way." And he fired her. He said, "Look, if you thinking about hurting your child and you're the nanny and you're watching my kids, I don't need you watching my kids." So he fired her. There's another incident where a lady, they were showing a text exchange between a lady and a boyfriend. I think they were in a relationship for 4 or 5 years. And he said, "Hey, it's over. I can't trust your judgment." And she's like, "You're breaking up with me over a post." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I can't trust your judgment. We have different values. And if I decide to have kids with you, I have to worry about you causing harm to my kids. So this is not going to work." You know, he ended up breaking up with her. And I think it's extremely important if you are a father, you are a dad, whether or not you're a great dad and you want to be involved in your kid's life or you don't want to be involved in your kid's life, there's some part of you as just a human being that don't want to see your kid get hurt. So if you have an ex-wife or whatever the case may be, ex-girlfriend, baby mama, whatever it is, and she's posted videos saying she felt like being like Lindsay, and you may be a piece of crap dad that never paid child support, never did anything, never been in the kids' lives. But if you have a mother, a sister, an auntie, somebody who's willing to take those kids and put them in a safer place or even turn them into the hands of the state, call DCF, show them the evidence, take her back to court. At least walk away with a clear conscience knowing that those kids are out of that house and out of the place of harm and possibly in a better place where they can actually, you know, live their full life. You know, so, and if you're a great dad, you're going to go out and do it. And even if you're a piece of S dad, I mean, and you see this and you see that person talking like that, just do it, man. Just save that child life. Get that child out of that house. Get them out of that home, put them somewhere where they'll be a lot safer. Okay. That's another aspect of it. I think there's going to be a lot of relationships and marriages that's going to fall apart. And I think the default judgment of just the mother automatically having the child, I think that's something that we really need to look at. And we need to look at as a society and say, you know what? the child's best interest should be at heart, and whichever parent is willing or capable of taking care of the child, not just financially, but emotionally and mentally, that is the parent that should have the child. Um, but I also think that, because like I said, I'm going to be covering all aspects of this. So you're going to see I'm all over the place. But I think this whole case and this whole situation, especially with her supporters, it's shown how just the smallest group of people, because they're so loud and they're saying some of the most outrageous, craziest things out there, could seem like they're speaking for the majority of women, right? And and keep in mind, there's maybe a few thousand women that are out here, her supporters, and being very vocal and posting videos and stuff like that. I think the last count was about 20,000 women that they saw, that they counted were supporting her and everything else like that. That's just a drop in the bucket, right? But they're so loud and they're saying some of the most outrageous and craziest things that people think that this is the majority of women. And you see some posts online where there are some men out there that are saying, oh my gosh, women are crazy and this and that. And it's not all women. It's a small percentage, but they're just really loud. And there's a huge, huge percentage of women who are just online and they're like, oh my God, that is sick. How could you support this lady? She killed 3 kids. She strangled them with exercising, strings, and she sent her husband away. All the evidence are there. What is wrong with women? We're gonna lose our rights to vote. Like it's like there are women out there that are very vocal and they're like standing up against her supporters, and they're saying they're saying her supporters are crazy. So I think if you actually apply that to a lot of like the stereotypes that are happening to other cultures and other things, this is like a real time, clear example of how, even though it's the smallest group, because they're so loud and they're so outrageous, that stereotype starts to apply to the majority. And people think it is the majority. So kudos to the women out there, that are standing up against, the stupidity and the craziness that's happening with Lindsay supporters. Um, and the last thing I'm going to touch on in regards to that is going to be mental health. For years, I've been saying this amongst my friends and amongst my colleagues. Um, this BS thing of mental health is just it's getting out of control. It's getting out of hand. Mental health is an issue for every single thing. Life's a little bit hard. It's mental health. I can't pay my bills. It's mental health. You have an argument with your partner. I got to protect my mental health. Life is hard. From the time we have been on this planet as human beings, there's been adversities and things that we have to get over. If our great great ancestors, the very first humans on this planet, just said, oh, I can't do it because of my mental health, we would not have houses, we would not have boats, cars, planes, we would not have any of the things that we have because they would just crash out and say, I can't deal with it because of mental health. Okay? It's not a problem with mental health. Mental health has just become an everyday word or an everyday excuse for BS. All right, for not accepting accountability or just being lazy and not wanting to work hard. So everything is my mental health. I got to protect you have a job, you got to pay bills. And next thing you know, I can't work at that job, my mental health. No, you're just being lazy, you know? And I think we need to eliminate this thing of like mental health as being everything. We just need to go back to saying, hey, you're lazy, okay? And you're not inspired, and not that's it. Don't give people any excuse because you had 3 kids. You had all of the support system in the world. So what is the reason for the breakdown? All right. Now with her, she might just be crazy, just effed up in the head. She might just be a psychopath who wanted to do it. But I think these women and her supporters out here who are just saying, it's mental health, it's mental health. Dude, really? You have people that walk away from relationships because of one argument. I got to protect my mental health. It's becoming an excuse. And I've been trying to get this podcast together for a wild one that specifically talking about bringing back asylums. If we bring back the mental asylums and we put people in there that actually have problems, mental problems, and we put these things out there, once you're diagnosed with mental health issues, you go into a freaking asylum. I guarantee you, all this talk of mental health will stop. People will start dealing with the problems that they deal with in life. It's called adulting. It's called life. It's called living. This is what we go through. Every single human being, no matter where you are on the planet, your life is never perfect. There's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be a problem. And if you can't deal with it, then you can't deal with it. And you're going to fail and you're going to be at the bottom part of bottom part of I guess, the pyramid, the bottom part of life. And the ones that are able to excel and deal with the problems, they succeed in life financially, emotionally, mentally, family wise, and everything else. And the ones who can't, they end up as the bums or they end up at the lower tier of life. This is what we're dealing with now, people. This is getting out of control, And I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to say this, and I want to close off this podcast with this. We need to identify these women. We need to hold them accountable. We need to get DCF involved. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. AT&T sucks.